We do these debates every single day. How's it going, man? What do you want to talk about?
Hey, how are you, brother? How is everything good on Thursday? Everything good?
Everything's going good. Do you support Trump?
Before I say that, I just want to say that I'm a big fan of yours and I
Oh,
support
okay.
your channel and everything, and I support you.
I appreciate you. Do you support Trump?
Yes, I do because I'm Cuban.
Awesome. Why do you support Trump?
Because he's going to end communism in Cuba soon.
Well, I don't think there is communism in Cuba. I mean, communism is going to be like a stateless, classless, moneyless society.
Well,
There's
I'm Cuban, and I escaped from Cuba during 2012 because it's a dictatorship and it's a prison island, and
Look,
I
I don't
escaped
disagree
from
with you. It's a
Cuba.
dictatorship. I think the power in Cuba is absolutely horrible. But the difference here is I just disagree with any like American interventionism because it started in 1950s. American interventionism, the CIA was going crazy. They try to overthrow regimes all over the place, Cuba, Venezuela, Iran, everywhere. Guess what? We're in a worse off place because the CIA did that, right? Um,
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. My uncle was one of the members of the Bay of Pigs, and he died in that war and everything. You're absolutely right.
yeah, I just don't support any American interventionism. We've also had restrictions on Cuba. Now, if we can work something out diplomatically, I completely would support that. I could support like targeted, taking out like the regime like targeted
You're right.
and strategically. But the only difference is like what happens after, right? What happens after the current
Yeah.
regime in Cuba like falls, right? Is it going to lead to a power vacuum? Are worse
Uh,
people going to get into office? Are we going to have to send troops
were
on the
the people in
ground?
Cuba were the people in Cuba starving before Trump? Because I used to live in Cuba before Trump. Were the
Yeah,
people in Cuba starving?
yes. There
Yes,
was issues
that's it.
before Trump, yes.
Yeah. Is it a military dictatorship state before I left?
Uh, I I could say dictator. I'm not 100% certain if they like. I would assume yes, they would use their military to enforce laws. I could agree with you. Yes.
No, no, yes, I'm going to work with you and everything. Yes, it was
Sure.
a dictatorship. I'm not trying to flag your page and everything. I'm going to work with you and everything. But and I just want to say, I appreciate your life and everything. I'm a big fan of yours
I
and stuff
appreciate
like
you.
that. Yes, yes, like, but everything, I just want to say that, like, as a Cuban, I escaped in 2012. I didn't immigrate or get a passport or anything or got permission to leave in 2012. I actually, took a raft to escape Cuba in 2012 and I landed in Tavernier. Thank God that I landed in there and everything. But, Cuba is very, very bad and stuff like that.
Sure. I think Cuba, the regime in Cuba is bad. But I think, I mean, A, Donald Trump hasn't done anything for Cuba. B, if he does do something, it's to be strikes. I think that we're just going to get into a war with Cuba as we are with Iran. And I think overwhelmingly, I don't think you should still support Trump just because you're Cuban. Like, I can agree with you. You want Cuba to be free. And I agree with that, right? But I don't think supporting Trump is the way to go about that. He's not good with diplomacy. He is not good with negotiations.
I
And
mean,
if we do start a war, innocent people will die,
I
and
mean,
it will just
regardless.
lead to a power vacuum.
Regardless, I understand what you're trying to say, but regardless what you feel about Trump, if it gives the Cuban people freedom, regardless of what you feel about Trump, is still good and everything. Even though like I know the situation about Iran because the military, and everything, but Cuba, because we're still stuck in the Cold War era. Everybody, even the military, because like I had to say, still how do I say, still had to support the military back in my high school days, and we had to still how do I say, cut sugar canes and during my middle school years and stuff like that.
Right, but like
You
my
know,
point is, I don't think Donald Trump can free Cuba. I think it will just be in a worse off position, and I base it off of like historical context, right? Because we've tried in Cuba and it led to a worse off condition. I think it would just lead to power vacuums that leads to worse regimes in place, right? Unstable conditions for the Cuban people, right? And I don't support that. I don't support unstable conditions. The same thing with Iran. It's not just Trump, right? It was Bush with Iraq. It's all over the place in Venezuela in the 1950s. Right?
You're
It's
right.
not just like Trump. I'm not just hating on Trump, but it's every president that does anything with like the CIA that tries to like do coups that leads to a worse off conditions. I don't support that. I don't support American interventionism.
Well, what do you think if the Cuban people support Trump adding Cuba to the United States and become the 51st state, or at least a territory? Just like play devil's
Like any
advocate.
51st state, I think like we should give statehood to Puerto Rico. Like you got Puerto Rico, you got like so many other states, like I mean territories of the United States that are in worse off conditions
I know Puerto
because
Rico
they're
will be
not
very
like they're
pissed.
citizens but they can't vote. Right? They're like American citizens but they can't vote. They don't have any representation. Right. The point is here. I don't support American interventionism. I think we should take care of our states and our territories. I would agree something like working diplomatically with other countries to try to free the Cuban people, but I think that any like military operation will lead to a worse off condition than it is now.
No, I agree with you. I'm not saying anything. I know definitely a lot of Puerto Ricans, especially here in mainland United States, are going to be very pissed off if Cuba becomes a state or a territory before Puerto Rico and everything.
Sure. Sure. Well, it looks like we. Is there anything else that you support Trump on though, besides like this whole Cuba situation? Because I mean, he hasn't really done anything for it. He's just like threatening strikes. Right? It could happen. It couldn't. Right? I would lean like more towards it will happen. But again, we'd have to wait, and then we could have that debate. But like, he hasn't really done anything for Cuba. So, is there any other reason why you still support Trump?
Well, just hear me out. Just hear me out. I'm not trying to say anything against your page because I'm a big fan of your page and I support your individualism and everything, right?
Sure.
No, it's just that a lot of exiled Cubans here in Florida, we're the reasons why we gave Florida to Trump in the election, and we definitely support Trump what he's trying to do with Cuba and everything, and hopefully he's going to end communism in Cuba and free our island and everything. And I know a lot of people are basically hating Cubans in Florida and everything. If Cuba becomes, a territory or God willing, a state and everything, we will definitely leave Florida and become, citizens of Cuba and everything if it becomes a 51st state. We're not trying to say anything bad about it, but we're trying to free our country. Everybody in Cuba is definitely, wants to have freedom. We're not talking about anything about Cuba and everything. The Cuban people right now, you can find it on TikTok that leaked videos and everything that the Cuban people in Cuba, especially in Havana, are protesting and rioting, but they are rioting towards the communism committee building, but they're not rioting against the U.S. embassy or Guantanamo Bay.
I
The
don't
Cuban
disagree with you.
people.
Like, I don't think that the reason why I asked if there's anything else that you wanted to like talk about, because like the point is, I don't disagree with you. I think that like the regime in Cuba is like bad. I also think American interventionism is bad. But the point here is Donald Trump hasn't done anything for it, right? We can agree he hasn't done anything for Cuba so far. So the only
That,
point of debate would be like in the future if he does strike Cuba, right? If like Pete Hegseth, Marco Rubio, and Donald Trump decide to go through with strikes on Cuba, then that would be a point of debate. But right now he hasn't done anything for Cuba. Right now, I don't think there's
and
a
you're absolutely
justification for
right.
you
I
supporting
agree
him.
with you, and I agree with you. And between the people in Cuba and the people in Florida, we hope that he actually drops some boom boom
So is that the
on
only? Are
right.
you like a single issue voter? Like is that it? Is that the only reason why you support Trump?
What you asking me as a Cuban in Florida? Is that the only reason I support Trump?
Yeah. Like, is there any other reasons?
No, no, I'm sorry. I know you're going to say anything, but as far as I know, that's the only reason why we support Trump because we support him too, so we can have our freedom in Cuba and have Cuban as a territory, as a U.S. state. That's just my opinion.
Sure. Well, I appreciate coming up here. I again, it seems like you're a single issue voter, and obviously nothing's happened. We would have to wait until something does happen. And I've told you my perspective. I don't agree with American interventionism, so I think that we're like at a stalemate. But I appreciate you coming up here and being respectful. But I'm probably gonna try on next guest.
And I appreciate you too. Please, keep me as a follower and everything. I really would like to be a guest on your page in the future.